Yo, yo, yo. What up, dog?
What up? What up?
Back in the building for another no couch session this week for me, baby. We are back. Apparently.
hmm Yeah, we're halfway through the year officially this week. Yeah, your boys came out and played. I know you're excited about it, so let's hop into it. Florida, Texas,
Yeah, Florida, Texas,
Texas,
baby.
Florida, however you want to say it.
Yeah, Texas came to the swamp. They hadn't been there for 85 years or some crazy number. I mean, obviously that was a long, long time ago. I don't even know leather helmets and all, but made their first trip as a SEC member to Gainesville, and yeah, we welcomed Arch Manning and the boys with an L. You know, we I don't even I'm at a loss for words still. Several days
After
after
your
the
rant,
fact.
after your rant last
Yeah,
week,
yeah, that's what it takes. It takes me to go on a Billy Napier "you suck" rant, your team sucks rant. It takes 4 weeks to start a season apparently in Gainesville. And yeah, like I'm sure I'm elated that we won. I'm sure I'm super stoked we beat a top 10 team. Allegedly.
I
I'm
was about to
you know,
say
I'm I'm
alleged.
uh I'm happy we beat a team that was in the college football playoff last year. That
Yeah,
was, highly touted coming in this year, highly touted quarterback, the number one defense in the country, all that stuff. But it's still in the back of my mind is like this is kind of like the Billy Napier experience, you know,
it's a roller coaster.
and it's not worth it. So it's like
No,
I'm not sold on anything we did last week. Um, we
I
played
typically
really we played really good. Like DJ,
yeah.
like again, DJ Lagway, like it takes you four. I mean, obviously you missed all the training camp, you missed all that, but like so just a week off, and all of a sudden you can throw sidearm
And
dimes.
Dallas Wilson.
Well, I mean, Dallas Wilson definitely. I knew that was going to be a big key part that we were
No,
missing.
no, no. But I'm just saying as a whole, like it took a week off and Dallas Wilson in 3 games in for the offense to look like it had some kind of life, like they
Yeah,
could move the football.
like again, this is exactly what I thought the team would look like to begin with. This is what me and Dave when we started, when I started podding with him with Gators Breakdown over the middle of the summer. We were looking at all the parts that we had, and we're like, carrying over from last season. You're like, this should how what we saw Saturday in Gainesville was what I thought we were going to see. Against South Florida, against LSU, against Miami. Would that have been good enough to beat those teams? I feel like probably South Florida, maybe LSU, but I still think you guys are the top team in the country right now playing on the road. The game might have been closer, but I still would have probably think Miami would have won that game. But again,
Yeah.
you're looking at a whole different perspective of the season. That I cannot erase what happened week 2 against South Florida.
The other crazy thing is, as good as they looked, they still had issues, of course.
Totally.
But
Defense gave up a lot of big plays.
but
Arch,
are you? But to me, I'm still not sold because they played a bad Texas offense.
Yeah, well, that's what
Defense, I'm
that's the whole.
surprised. I'm surprised how their defense played, and how Florida was able to run the ball and move the ball. But then again, Texas has so many issues themselves.
Yeah, I want
But
to see what Texas. This is the big thing. Like
this is the
when you get,
weekend. This is the
well,
weekend
yeah,
we
yeah,
find out a lot about a lot of teams.
yeah, for sure. We're definitely getting to that. Like you say, the midway point. Your teams are
Yeah.
getting lost. Teams are getting a little chinks in the armor. Teams are getting exposed in certain
hmm
aspects of what they're not good at. So I definitely, and like I say, because how good or bad is Texas? I still don't know. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like they
Because they
still,
played Ohio State and you guys. The games in between were a bunch of
yeah,
nobodies.
totally. And like I say, Arch, for as bad as he was,
He had some throws. Like
he
I
had dude, he had some throws and he missed
yeah,
some wide open stuff. I'm
yeah.
talking about when Sark dialed up that double pass,
Mhm.
that was six.
Yeah.
He had a double move on
So
where Kamani got cooked and
I wa
he missed him there, so
I was telling Ricky is like, for as much as everyone's been bagging on Arch, you saw glimpses of what they see at
yeah,
Texas during
dude's
practices.
like he threw some
And
missiles. He threw some missiles,
that's what
man.
the touchdown to Wingo was. He put that on the spot. I just
There-
think it's a combination of multiple things. We'll hop back on Florida for a second. I think for Texas, is they lost so many guys from that team
Yeah.
that went deep in that
Well,
playoff
dude,
run.
when you
And
lose
Arch
three
doesn't have
three offensive linemen is
and
huge,
skill guys.
and they're skill guys, but they can't run the ball. That's the biggest
They
problem.
cannot run the ball.
And
Yep,
they
that's the problem.
can't protect. So
Nope.
you can't do that. That's a recipe for not good offense,
And you only got really one legit receiver. Like
Right.
Langford is the possession guy, but he should be fourth or fifth on your core. And Wingo is your everything guy, and then you got a bunch of true freshmen. And I think Texas is going to be fine in the next couple years.
Yeah.
But this year they're going to lose probably 3 or 4 more. They're probably going to lose this week to Oklahoma. But I think for Florida, could that have been a recipe of all 3 phases had, good plays. The punt, the block punt, the defense looked pretty good. Offense at times, like you say, bringing in Dallas Wilson looks good. The offensive line protected. That was the biggest thing for me. It was the offensive line protected.
Well, like I say, here's the other thing too. Here's the other thing too. We've been what have we been saying after like week 1 or 2? Give Jaden Ball the damn ball.
Yeah.
And he finally got. I mean, obviously Jacoby Jackson's hurt right now, so it's now it's
you're giving him the ball a little bit.
But here's the thing: give him the ball more. Like he's the better back, so give him the ball more.
100%.
You rotate in a guy if he gets spell him, but 27 carries. He finally got 27 carries for 107 yards. Averaging 4 yards a clip, and then Jacoby's hurt, so they bring in the true freshman Duke Clark, and like I say, he's been. I heard big things about him over the summer. That would have been your Jacoby Jackson.
And DJ was efficient.
Even
I mean, we can't
21 to 20. Well, that's what I was going to get to next. Like you were able to run the ball. You solidified that you were going to run it, and you came out and DJ was 21 to 28. Very solid performance. The 2 touchdown passes. Obviously, Dallas Wilson, was big.
But also, it took you.
We had
4
explosive
games
plays downfield.
Exactly. It took you 4 games to take shots down the field.
Yeah, that's
4
what I'm saying.
games.
I don't, like I say, I don't understand it. You know what
Is
I'm saying?
it too much on his plate, and he just doesn't want to admit there's too much on his plate? And it's one of those, I'm going down with the ship how I want to run it.
Pretty much, because
that's what it feels like.
He's definitely sinking his own ship, whatever. I mean, like you say, unless all of a sudden we're going to rattle off wins now. But I mean, again, this is what makes that South Florida game, so inexcusable. Like if we're 2-2 right now, or 3-2, it's a totally different feel because you still have the one conference loss with LSU.
You're still lined up for everything, all your goals. Really,
but again, so the bottom line is this: even at what I looked at, say we won that South Florida game or not, whatever, you still got to go win all these other ones anyways. So
for sure, but you gotta
well, like I say,
pool. Like I tell Steve, you got to win this week.
Yeah. Is the team going to play? Is the team going to play? Is the team that we saw going to play in Gainesville last week? Is it going to carry over to the next couple of weeks? And where do we struggle the most on the road? Billy doesn't have any kind of signature road win at all. So what this game sets up feels like with Texas A&M, not jumping too far ahead, it feels like the Tennessee game of last year. Like Tennessee was highly ranked, and so now you got to go into a hostile environment. Can you win on the road? And like I say, that's where. Like I say, I asked you, I think it was Monday or Sunday or Monday. I don't know. It was like, Gators played really good. Offensively, they showed a lot of signs of, this is the offense we thought we were going to see. And, defense played well enough to, to just contain what they had going on, stop the run game. And then, Arch hit some late passes late in that game when it was kind of out of hand, but then they got kind of hairy for a minute too. Will it translate over? Are you going to say they're going to beat Texas A&M this weekend? And, I think your text was possibly. And it was basically possibly of if this team plays like they did Saturday. And will they? Possibly. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So until they do it and show me any sort of consistency with this is the team that we thought we were going to see and this is who we are now, then they gotta show me. So, it's doable, but again, nobody's like clear running away with everything right now. There's a lot of good
funny
teams,
thing. But when you see people talk about the Gator, I mean any team in the country, right? We talk about any team in the country, and it comes down to can you be consistent week to week? If Florida could go to Kyle Field and run the football, DJ be efficient, get a good special teams play, and the defense plays good,
you'll be in the game. You'll be in the game.
Yeah. But once again, I'm not poo-pooing the win, but no one's been impressed with Texas this year so far.
Right.
So you did what you were supposed to do. Like me and you, what we say at the beginning of the season, the theme is you win your game this week and you worry about next week.
Yeah.
Control what you can control and win this week. Because if you're thinking 2, 3, 4 weeks down the line and you stumble 2 or 3 times, you're out of the conference race, you're out of the playoff race. So worry about this week. And maybe that week off, they were able to clean some things up. DJ was able to get a little healthy, and
Yeah.
Billy
Well,
was
he
able
looked
to.
like it looked like he got hurt like on
Yeah.
the second drive of the game, and I was like, I was listening to the radio because I wasn't at the house yet, and Shane was like, DJ's hurt, like he's limping, he's gimping. But I was sitting there thinking like he went in the tent for the whole defensive series after that first drive or second drive or whatever it was. And it was like he's coming back out and he's not, doesn't look good. So I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, this dude really is going to be out he's going to be out now, and
But
credit to whatever. I don't know
but
what the
still
issue
going,
was,
but
comes back
but
and plays great.
but going off of the Miami week going into this week, like I say, you got time to figure some things out. He able to get a little healthy. We know he's hurt. He's going to be
Yeah,
hurt the rest of the year. But
totally.
maybe Billy was just self-evaluated, or some coaches have guys on the side that no one knows about that helping evaluate, and they say, hey man, just run the ball more. And like you said, they gave the ball more. They were more efficient. I think the biggest thing was the offensive line. The offensive line looked better this week,
Yeah,
and
no,
to control Colin Simmons and
I was gonna say
Hill.
it's kind of surprising against the opponent you were going against.
Exactly, but part of me is like watching that defense for Texas. I'm like, man, those boys are starting to look like they're checked out. And
Yeah,
like I
right.
say, you don't want to
And I don't
discredit
know. I don't
Florida,
know. I
but
don't
they
know how.
look checked out.
That's crazy that you'd be checked out too. Just after having going into that game, you got one loss to the number one team in the
Yeah,
country by a
but
touchdown.
you see that offense every
Um,
week, and you're like, we're not winning games.
yeah, like I
And
say,
they made some hell of a plays, and Florida got the W. They held off because they still almost Texas was still able to possibly tie the game.
yeah,
His clock management in his head was terrible that last drive, and he just holding on to the ball a little too long, trying to make the perfect play. And I think part of what made their offense look a little decent was him getting out of the pocket and running a little bit to extend some plays. But
yeah.
like I said,
Which he's shown he's capable of doing that, and that's
yeah,
part of
he
his
could get,
game.
yeah. So be happy with the victory. What do? You quick turnaround. If you're Florida and you say, all right, that was a good win, we need to focus on the next one, and that's how they got to be for the rest of the season. If win or loss, let's turn around. Let's get ready for the next week, because the rest of the way is not easy at all for Florida.
No,
The schedule,
definitely not. Like I say, we said that the beginning of the year before the season started, that top half was going to be tough. Those that triple the 4-game stretch between LSU, Miami, and Texas and A&M. If you said that 4-game stretch, like that was tough. But then you look at the grand scheme of things. Now the back end there's 2 teams in the top 5 right now with Ole Miss and Georgia still on there. You're going to A&M, who's number 5 in the country. I mean, you still kind of can count that as in the back half of the top 4, or the first half of the whatever. But like it's going to be difficult as hell. And the biggest part that I felt though, that was the team I thought we were going to see from out of the gate. So like that team, if you don't throw 5 picks, you might go on the road and beat LSU, and then it's a whole different,
or just run the football and play defense.
You're just feeling different about everything again. If the Gators had one loss to Miami right now, they'd be feeling pretty damn good. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
They'd be a top 10 team. You lose to the team who's considered number 1 or number 2 in the country right now. And then you still got all this tough slate ahead anyways.
Well, I think also
the feel is different, but it's just like I'm infuriated because we played like shit those 3 games. We played like ass at home against South Florida. You throw 5 picks and you look like crap at LSU, and you basically couldn't even get a first down against Miami. So it's like, but now all of a sudden, miraculously, everything's come together.
Well, see that, and I was just going to say that, and that's all that's doing. All this past week did was give Scott Strickland more fuel to say, "See, he's the guy. We can keep him."
Yeah,
and
win the next 7, and I'll say, okay.
Well, yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. This is going to be a week-to-week thing, and Scott Strickland's going to have ammo because technically he has all the power right now.
If we win these next
yes
7
or
games,
no.
if that's what I'm saying. Well, if we win these next 7 games and we play like that for the rest of the year, then sure, keep Billy. You just got to
Yeah, but
figure
he
the shit
won't.
out. And
Yeah, he won't. So
I don't
that we don't
disagree
have
with
to
that.
worry about that. But I'm just saying, like the sad thing is the guy in control.
Well, here's the
Everybody
thing. All
wants
right,
him
well,
gone,
here's the
and
question.
he's
So
the
if the
guy in
Gators,
control of it.
all right, so here you go. If the Gators play exactly the same game they did against Texas, you don't think they can beat Texas A&M?
No.
If they play exactly this how, like, see, I disagree with that because I think that brand of ball can beat Texas A&M. You know, like I say, I think that game's going to be a hell of a game. But if the Gators play like they did against Texas versus how they did against Miami or LSU, yeah, they get their doors blown. You know, in Texas at College Station. But if they play, like Texas A&M's not just some like miraculous world beater. Like
I didn't say that. I just
they're a
think their
great
offense
team.
their offense is better than Texas's offense.
I don't disagree with
They're
that at
moving the
all.
ball. They're going to run the foot. They're going to be able to run the football this week.
I definitely.
And Marcel Reed's going to be able to make plays. I'm just saying that you guys got a
So what is
W
it?
against a bad Texas.
I guess we'll get to it.
Offense.
I'm just trying to figure out what it's going to take for Florida to get a win on the road at A&M. We'll get to that when we talk about it.
Well, one's Hansen not fumbling the ball, but yeah,
that was definitely a bad turnover for sure. But like I say, Florida wins the game. Kudos. Like, go show me that you can win on the road. You know, we see the schedule. We know the schedule before the season started. You know,
it's not changing.
We'll see what DJ can do on the road. We'll see what this offensive line can do on the road. And like I say, I feel like if this is the team and you consistently all of a sudden just turn the light switch on, and you're going to play this way, you're going to be in every game. But if not, you know, hell, we were playing like ass and we were still in all 3 of those games we lost. You know, that's what's crazy about it too. You know, but like I say, they're super frustrating. It's kind of super disappointing. And it is what it is. But like I say, we'll move on because we'll talk about we'll talk about Florida and Texas A&M here in a little bit. We'll talk about your boys who beat the shit out of the Florida State Seminoles, but they took a moral victory because the game was close. But
they could have it. I could care less.
That's what I'm saying.
Next week.
Yeah, the Canes.
And the funny thing is all these Canes fans entertaining the BS that all the Florida State fans are saying. I could care. Say whatever you want. I could care less. The scoreboard says even if it was close, you lost. But recapping that game, I thought the Canes did a great job doing exactly what I thought they needed to do, which was don't let Tommy get out of the pocket and let him run around and stop the explosive plays. The first drive, it was kind of like, whoa, these boys got down the field pretty easy. Held them to 3, and then after that, I think it just kind of unraveled for Florida State.
Yeah.
And the game plan that Heatherman had, where he pretty much, as much as everyone's giving praise to Bain and Mesidor, they got to start giving praise to Jacoby Thomas and Poyser, the 2 safeties, 7 and 8. How they're playing this season is unbelievable, especially in a game like this where they were kind of rotating down, kind of simulating pressure, bringing pressure. They were doing a great job of just keeping Tommy in the box and not letting him get out and run. And like I say, and seeing down the field. And I think Florida State missed plenty of opportunities where they in the middle of the field was wide open. But the problem is he can't see over the offensive line to see those guys a lot of times crossing and, you know, sitting in those certain zones. Now they figured it out in the fourth quarter. They did figure it out. But, you know, I think defensively we did a great job. And like I said, 7 and 8 need to just get as much credit as 3 and 4. But the whole defense as a whole.
Yeah, I like Keontae Scott.
Keontae Scott is balling too. Yeah. Like you say, the whole defense is doing a great job. And, you know, little tic-tac things, we need fouls and stupid things we got to clean up, like the Armando Blunt hit on Castellanos at the end. I thought it was a ticky-tack call, but I get it. You know, that extended the drive to you know, for them to get it even closer. And then offensively, Florida State loaded up the box and said, you're not going to run the ball. And I think everyone thought that Carson was not able to throw. But I think what people aren't taking into consideration, those first 3-4 games at the beginning of the year, they were all in South Florida and they were rain games. Every last one of them were raining. So I think that kind of hurt him a little bit throwing the football in this week. we saw it. Hey, stack the box and we're going to go deep. You know, the little tit for tat between their DC and our OCs was kind of funny after the game. But hey, we got the W.
Yeah, no, I think the big thing was, in my opinion, too, like, yeah, you want to limit Castellanos and his explosives, but after him, they were the number one rushing team in the country, number two behind Navy or whoever it was, and those guys were completely eliminated. It was eliminated. Sawchuk and whoever else they threw in there, you know, they didn't rush for nothing. So
Yeah.
Miami's defense did a great job of basically shutting the run game down and then making Castellanos have to make throws. He made a couple of decent throws, but then he also made some bonehead stuff. He made some errant throws. He threw 2 interceptions.
Like the one that the Jacoby Thomas in the end zone. That was him throwing off his back foot.
He just
like he did in Virginia.
it was like a Hail Mary in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically,
and they got lucky because we could have 2 more that they recovered.
Right. On the flip side, too, you know, efficiently enough, you didn't even have to run the ball because Carson was so efficient passing the ball, and you scored kind of like at will in the sense, you know. So like you didn't have to really run the ball. Fletcher, you know, he basically ran it 12 times, you know, which is, if you would have said Fletcher's only going to run it 12 times, I'd have been like, whoa. I was like,
and Canes as a team, going into, if I would have said Canes only had 97 yards rushing as a team, you would be like, well, you guys don't win the game because Carson has to throw 50, 60 times.
Right. But again, that's the other thing too. He was highly efficient at only throwing it 27 times for 20, you know, completions. And he, you know, threw 4 touchdowns because basically, you know, guys like Tony was killing him. CJ Daniels had a big game. You finally got 3 balls to your tight end too, by the way. Well, six passes to your tight ends, you know, not a lot of yards, but at least they got some content.
It was a couple big first downs Lofton picked up, and then Bauman had a nice catch to pick up a first down.
I think the biggest takeaway, again, if you're going to be a national championship team, and you're going to be the number 1 or number 2 ranked team in the country right now, the number 1 thing the Canes got to clean up is penalties.
Yes.
You can't have 13 penalties for 100 yards. Like that.
Crazy.
That's a lot of penalties. Like that. That's basically, some of that stuff is why teams stay in the game. Like the 2 things that the Canes do, like you always say, they're the most penalized. If you're the most penalized in the game, that's not good. And then on the flip side, when you go into your offensive lulls where you basically have a drive or 2 where you don't do anything.
That was the fourth quarter.
And it was kind of the fourth quarter. They kind of played conservative because they were up so big. You know, that's where you kind of like, you want to say you play a little bit better. You know, the only credit I'm going to give Florida State is they didn't quit in the game. You know, they didn't quit. But like, other than that, the game was, when it was 28-3, the game was over. Signed, sealed, delivered. Congratulations, Florida State. You scored 19 in the fourth quarter.
And then it could have, like you say, the Malachi Tony touchdown.
Yeah, that was a Nick call, dude. That should have been 6.
You know, me and you, we were texting about it, and it's like, it seems like that's happening in every game where guys are going in motion and they're so eager to get upfield to get that track speed going. And Marion just kind of, he bubbled a little bit and he started upward towards the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it was like arena ball style.
Yeah, so it was just one of those things you got to clean up. That's not the first time that's happened. So you got that penalty, then you got a Ruben Bain penalty where he jumps off sides, but he doesn't get back. Like I said, the Armando Blunt penalty, I'm not mad at it, even though it extended the drive because I think that was on the 3rd down. But it's one of those where you're asking a defensive lineman to stop his momentum when he's chasing a quarterback and the quarterback decides to slide. Like, guys that size just don't stop. And another big play in the game, I think, was the Justin Scott play where he shoots upfield. He stayed disciplined. He didn't chase going backside, and the Danzy reverse came at him, and he just stood there. He didn't make the tackle, but he did enough to let the defense flow over there and get it. And like I said, the Jacoby Thomas, where he stripped the ball out of Chroma, and and then the next play was the double pass. Not the double pass, but the throwback to the running back where he had the Tony touchdown in the corner, the flea flicker, But yeah, I think week in and week out, I think we still have not, even though since Shannon Dawson's been at Miami, we still have not seen the full capability of that offense. We still haven't seen it because there are times in the game where Mario is shutting it down and just being hey man, we'll just run the football.
You're about to explode on the rest of these teams on your schedule. So we'll see you guys in December, baby.
We'll worry about the bye week and then Louisville. I mean, it's the ACC, dude. It's one of those, like, no one thought UCLA was going to beat Penn State.
Yeah.
There's bigger issues there. We'll get to that in a minute. but I think you just got to keep the main thing. Like I say, how Miami looks. I texted you this also and said we might be the best team in the country, and it takes a lot for me to sit there and say that.
No, I mean,
And
clearly right now, Ohio State, Miami, and Oregon are the three best teams in the country.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And then there's some good teams after that. There's a tier down. Those are the three best teams in the country. Like if I was to say who's going to win the national title, it's one of those three teams, in my opinion, just because they have the full makeup, I think, of everything. They got a good court. Well, I can't even say that about Ohio State. Good quarterback play. Sand's playing okay. He's playing pretty good.
Still don't know enough.
Yeah, and but they all three of those look like they have rock solid defenses.
Good offensive lines. They're able to run the football.
Exactly. And so they got some playmakers on the outside, so like
those are the three best
teams. Totally. If somebody gets injured on one of those three teams, we could totally change the narrative of whatever. And then I think, like I said, I think we'll find out now how good is Indiana, how good is Ole Miss when they got to go on the road. How good is Bama? Is Bama back after that week 1 loss? How good is Georgia? Some of these teams in that like next rung down. And then what's crazy
Indiana
to me,
as well.
Yeah, I said Indiana. I said them first.
Oh, my bad.
Because we're gonna find out a lot about them this week because they play one of the teams who we think is one of the best. So, but yeah, I think Miami right now, and again, not saying you don't have a meaningful game the rest of the way, but in a sense, you just got to beat these teams.
Well,
like
those
are clearly better. There's no
100%. I'm not going to disagree with you
on the road at SMU.
But you got to show up. That's the biggest thing is you got to get 18, 19, 20-year-olds to buy in and show up every week. Like I said, I think they bought in, but and we joked 2 weeks ago about the schedule with the bye, Florida State bye. But by the end of that game, I was like, these boys need a bye week. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because they look gassed.
It worked out. Like I say, you're still going to be at home the following 2 weeks after that before you finally hit the road out of the state, Yeah. And then, like I say, Syracuse is in shambles with that quarterback. I feel bad for Syracuse. They were looking good, and now they're shell of themselves without their quarterback.
Yeah, it's the few things I would like to see going the rest of the way for Miami is getting more receivers involved. We know who our three are. We know it's Marion, Tony, and Daniels. Now, can a Ray Joseph, a Nikar, or even a JoJo Trader get back in the mix? They tried to get Jordan Lyle back in the mix. He ran it a little bit, and then defensively, getting more guys on the defensive line to where they can rotate and get out Bain and Mesidor to get some rest. And like I say, you got to prepare for the rest of the conference and the stretch run. But I think, like I said, going back to what I was saying about Shannon Dawson, I still don't think we've seen the full capabilities of the offense yet. Yeah. I think we may see it as the season goes on, and I'm excited.
Yeah, no, like I say, the makeup of you got one of the best offensive lines in the country. I know what Carson Beck's capable of. He just showed it like this past weekend, against a Florida State who's allegedly a top defense in the country.
And with guys that actually catch the football.
Right. So now you combo that with some of those skill guys you just said, and then, we like your running back. So it's just going to continuously evolve. Like, again, I think this offense is going to be a little bit more balanced than last year's 400 yards a game from Cam Ward,
Yeah.
And so I think that's a good thing. And, again, your defense is playing a whole hell of a lot better than it was last year. And we like a lot of those parts. So again, Miami to me is definitely
if we could have
number one or number two in the country. Like
if we could have more games like when we played against you guys to where the defense could rest and we're just gonna have as an offensive lineman, I love a 12, 13, 14, 15 play drive. Yeah. Because that just demoralizes the other team. And then as an offensive lineman, you're just looking at the guy like, hey, we're about to run it again. And we're going to run the football again.
It's wild to think back to that game was 13-7 going into the fourth quarter against the Gators, when they got the Carmani pick and you're thinking, wow, we got us a game here all of a sudden, and then you basically flex your muscle and you score, take the lead and you get the late touchdown to make it handle business, and again, that was the Gators played just awful that night, but like I say, moving on. Like I say,
on the Florida, before we move on the Florida State side of things,
we can talk about the Noles. We can talk about the Noles.
I think Florida State's still a good. From what I've seen, they're still a good team, and
I definitely give them a little credit. Put it this way: we're going to find out this week. We're going to find out this week. Can they get off the mat from losing 2 games? after they were so high after beating
Well, that's the
Bama.
problem. They got 2 ACC losses, and it's pretty
Yeah,
much conference the rest of the way, except for
yeah,
you guys at the end. So
yeah.
even one more trip up, you're completely out of the ACC. I don't think they're going to go to the ACC title game,
No,
but
I
with
don't
2
either.
losses, you're still in it because what's going to kill them is they need Virginia to get another loss. They need Miami to have 2 losses,
Yeah,
and then
I
they
think I
need
think they I think they can cancel
Georgia
out the
Tech.
ACC part. Like, just go win as
Hey
many
man,
games as you can, and
as
let the chips fall where they may.
listen, the last 15 years of watching the ACC, any damn thing could happen because that conference is wacky, and you're going to have some slip ups like Georgia Tech with Wake Forest.
What's wild
Almost
is
had a slip up.
the only teams who haven't won a conference game is North Carolina, Florida State, and Boston College. Everybody else at least has a win.
Yeah,
So they got
yeah,
a
that's what I'm
long.
saying. You're behind the 8 ball,
They
so
got a journey.
they still in front of them. They still got a 10-win season in front of them to where that could catapult you in some recruiting races to flip some guys or get some guys to still
Yeah.
come to
All right.
Florida
So
State.
if Florida State finishes the year 10-2, do they deserve a playoff spot? Obviously we got to see where everything
Yeah,
shakes out. But
exactly.
I mean,
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So they're not technically out of it.
no, they're definitely
And
not,
I
because they're
think that
still, they're still hanging around. I guess the part of the problem is, you know, they're only going to hold on to that Alabama win because they don't have anybody, like they don't have a Clemson,
no.
Florida right now. Now Clemson and Florida may get better as the season goes on, so maybe that game is big.
Yeah.
Like maybe maybe the Gators are ranked, or Clemson gets ranked when they play them, to where they can hang their hat and be like, who? Because when you look at this schedule, like who did they beat besides Alabama week 1?
Well, I think for them, their biggest thing offensively, they're gonna have to they're gonna have to figure out to cut down the turnovers. The turnovers, there are 2 games that they lost.
Yeah,
The
it hurt them
turnovers.
bad. Definitely hurt them bad for sure.
Yeah. So
All right,
they got to figure that out. They still got to be able to run the ball. They're going to be explosive defensively, stop the run and play good defense. So, you know, on the Florida State side of things, I think they're fine. They're still going to be between 8 and 10 wins the rest of the year.
Yeah, I could totally see that, because they don't play anybody. Like, so
Right.
they should win those games.
Right.
All right, well, let's talk about, I guess, some of the other. I guess we'll just hop right into this one because it's just funny to me. The surprise upset of the week was Penn State losing
Yeah.
against UCLA and Nico and Neuheisel, 12-year-old calling plays, lit their ass up, dude. I mean, it was.
Yeah. I
When
mean,
you look at the box score and you look at you're like, what in the HE double hockey sticks happened?
well, they couldn't stop. They couldn't stop the run. The biggest thing is they couldn't stop Nico from running. They were playing a lot of man, and they were not spying, and there was plenty of lanes. Like, did you guys not, like Jim Knowles? You're getting paid a lot of money.
Yeah, they rushed for 280 on them boys, man.
Yeah, you don't realize Nico could run the football. Like, don't let his size fool you. He could run the football. I mean, he had over 100 yards rushing. And hey, I give, with all the BS going on with him and his family, I give the kid credit for one thing. He is not afraid of contact. He will try to run through some contact. I mean, like I say, you 27-7 at the half. And then if you're Penn State, you're fighting the rest of the way.
Yeah, you're paying Jim Knowles is like one of the highest paid coordinators in the country. The guy who was on the national championship defense last year with Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
And UCLA just carved him like hot knife going through butter. But then on the flip side too, man, I don't know what to make of like these teams. They were supposedly top 10 teams coming into the season's offenses with prime quarterbacks playing just so.
This is not good.
Like,
that's just, you got to run it back.
Drew Aller was the leading rusher on this team.
Yeah.
When you have Katron Allen and Nick Singleton.
I don't like their offense. Their offense, watching their offense is just like, what are y'all? You feel like they're running like what an FCS school would run.
Drew Aller looks like ass, man. And I'm completely off that train. He's done screwed himself out of any kind of NFL draft. Like, but he'll get drafted just because he's 6'5" and whatever.
So how about this? Is it the offense or is it him? Like, is it the play calling, the design of the offense, or is it him?
I think what it boils down to is stuff like this. I think it's a combination of both. I think it's both. Just like Florida, like DJ wasn't playing good, or Billy's calling shitty plays. I think same thing with Cade Klubnik, or same thing with Arch. Like Sark's dialing up good plays, but your offensive line stinks.
Dude,
so
did you see the 4th and 2?
Yes,
the drive where they could so 4th and 2.
It was
You're
bad.
running a fake fly sweep QB draw. That's the play call. That's the play call that you run literally every game. They run that play every game. So you weren't surprising anyone with that play call. And I'm just sitting there like, well, then the left tackle whiffed on top of that.
Well,
But
like I say,
that's
what's
the play
wild
call.
too. Yeah, what's wild too is now after this game, it did take a little luster off of the Oregon win, in my opinion. But we'll see.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm still think Oregon's really good, but now I'm like, like you start watching.
Well, I think too that Penn State probably put so much into that Oregon game.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that shit from Franklin though, man. His post.
No.
Like,
I don't want to hear it either. But
I
think that they put a lot
these
emphasis
guys, you know,
into winning that game.
It was a letdown and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, because he's trying to get rid of the moniker, big game James, but he loses instead of wins. And then they come out sleepwalking, the whole we had to go to the West Coast and it's 3 hours and it's hey man, go complain to your chancellors and the president or the commissioner of the conference for signing 3 West Coast teams.
Yeah.
You knew it was going to happen. Why is everybody surprised that you got to fly to the West Coast?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
They suck. Like I say, they're in shambles. But some of the other big games, obviously last week, Texas A&M put a number on Mississippi State. Bama took care of Vandy. Vandy kind of hung around that first half, but Bama kind of flexed their muscle.
Hey, man. Hey, Ty Simpson is looking like one of the better quarterbacks outside of that Florida State game. Which, what's crazy? Yeah. Even with that Florida State game, he threw his first pick this weekend.
No, and like I say, going to that Florida State game, you go back and take out those drop balls that he had. Like there was like 4 or 5 drops in that game. He's completing like 80% of his passes, man. So like he's playing, he's playing really well. And then, like I say, now that getting Jam Miller back, that offensive, they're starting to run it a little bit.
Hey, how about the big boy? One more week with a big play. Caden Proctor on a 4th and 1 run.
Exactly, he had a 2-yard tote. Averaging 2 a carry, but. Yeah, he's got a catch in a tote. But like I think what's funny is too. Did you see the whole thing with Pavia getting into it with a Bama fan after the game?
Yeah.
Like I say,
the Bama fan should be kicked out though.
But here's the thing. I don't. Both can be true. Like Pavia, you're going to talk all that shit. You got to stand in the paint and let everybody talk to you.
I don't disagree with that.
And then there was some other coach talking about you're talking to a kid. No, he's a grown ass man. He's been dishing out like we're going to dominate this game. He does his taking a knee victory celebration, in the pregame. Like you lose, take the heat, buddy. So I mean,
you have to.
Like fans shouldn't just be belligerent or throwing things or anything like that, which that really didn't happen. But I mean, like I say, it's like the fan talking trash to Baker Mayfield the other day. It's like fans, are obnoxious for sure. But my thing is, I love Diego's swag and all that. I like his attitude.
I mean, he's changed the program. But he's changed the Vanderbilt program.
Again, when you talk it, you got to walk it. And if you don't,
100%.
Yeah. So like I
feel like the fan, like, dude, you're an old man. Like, come on, like
that's good.
Come on, man.
He wants to talk a little trash. He wants to talk a little trash to Diego. Like,
how about this? Get out on the football field.
Get out of here, Diego. Get out of here, Diego.
Yeah, but baby. I mean, the positives. I still think the Jeremy Bernard is still the best player at Alabama. The offensive line's blocking. They're going to be a team to watch out for the rest of the year.
Ryan Williams is still pretty damn good, but like you got Bernard too.
Bernard's the best receiver on there. I don't give a damn how talented Ryan Williams is. Bernard is the guy putting up numbers. He's producing. I'm tired of hearing about he 5-star. He ain't 5-star crap because he ain't doing it on the field. Bernard is the best receiver.
He had more yards and catches last weekend.
Bernard is the best player on their team at wide receiver. You could go and hype it.
I'm not disagreeing.
Those kids if you want, but they're not.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
I need you guys to produce.
If Ryan Williams is your 1B, that's pretty damn good. Is all I'm saying.
No, he's the 1B. I'm saying that he's the 1B. But
we've said Bernard has been the way better player to start the season. Like we'll see how the season goes on. But what I'm saying is Ryan Williams is actually coming along. He's playing a lot better, is what I'm saying. Because
better than what? Than he did last year? He's dropped off since last year.
Who?
Ryan Williams.
No, he dropped off like middle of the season after the Georgia game.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not knocking Ryan Williams. This is not.
He's picking it up right now. No, I'm looking at the last 3 games for Bernard. He had 4. He basically had 3 touchdowns in the last 3 games. He scored once in each game against Wisconsin, Georgia, Vandy. He had 4 for 62, 5 for 35, and 5 for 82.
But the
Ryan
problem
Williams.
is we look at numbers and the numbers don't tell the whole story.
I know that. I know that.
When you need a big first down, they're going to
box
5.
score
They're
watching.
going to 5. Yeah.
Well,
When they need a big first down, they're going to 5.
I mean, did you see what Ryan Williams did? I see again. I didn't watch this game.
I did. That's what I'm sitting here telling you.
I'm talking about Wisconsin. Did you watch that game?
I watched some of it.
What did Ryan Williams do that day?
He probably had a big game. I don't know.
He had 5 for 165 and 2 touchdowns.
But what I'm saying is Bernard has been the guy when they need to make a play.
I don't disagree with you. What I'm saying
they've been utilizing him.
He's not like he has been, but when you look at the numbers comparable, they're both about the same. Like they're both playing really well.
But you're also you're also factoring in shot plays to Ryan Williams down the field.
I mean, that's a part of it. You take a shot.
I know it's a part of it, but I could also say, what about that huge drop he had in the Bama game?
Totally. No, I totally don't disagree with that.
That's what I'm saying. The most consistent guy on the Alabama receiving corps has been Bernard.
Yeah, their numbers are
everyone keeps falling in love with these guys, what they can do. No, how about we fall in love with the guys with what they are doing? It's just like down in Miami. Everyone loves JoJo Trader. JoJo Trader hasn't done anything this season.
Well, you can't even compare JoJo to Ryan. Right, Ryan Williams at least has some stats.
I'm not comparing the two. What I'm saying is when you look at the situations of this is a 5-star guy, this guy should be the guy, and then there are guys lesser tier than them making plays. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that I'm not comparing JoJo Trader and Ryan Williams. I'm just saying on the field, Jeremy Bernard is the spark of that offense.
I don't disagree with that. Jeremy Bernard's playing great. We said it last week going into it. But I'm saying is Ryan Williams is playing pretty damn good is all I'm saying. Besides the couple of drops that he's had to where he could have even a better season if he makes those plays. That's all I'm saying.
That's big though.
It is. It's huge. But what I'm saying is he's still with those drops. His numbers are just the same as Bernard. They basically have the same amount of catches, same amount of yards.
Say it again. You're doing what? Box score watching?
I'm just saying.
You're box score watching.
All I'm saying is if you watch.
I know what you're saying. All I'm saying is I could go to a box score and say this guy's balling. But if I actually watch the game, I could say, no, the other guy's balling. He's benefiting off the other guy.
Totally. Like I said,
that's all I'm saying.
What I'm saying is if Ryan Williams is my second receiver, I'm pretty fucking happy with that. Like that, not a lot of people have Ryan Williams as your second best receiver. You know, how many teams have a Ryan Williams as the number 2?
Hey, if he keeps doesn't catch the ball, it doesn't matter. He's going to be just like everybody else dropping the football.
I don't know. I don't even know how many drops he has total in the season. They don't do drops on the college board on ESPN's website.
I'm gonna go out and say he has more than 5.
Yeah, I could probably he had
3 in the first game.
I know. That's what I'm saying. He played terrible in that first game.
That's my point exactly.
He played terrible, and Bernard played really good against the Noles, in a loss. But again, like I say, it's a long season. I think both of them are really good players. It's definitely helping that Ryan Williams is coming along to help Ty Simpson be as good as he is. And you add Isaiah Horton in there as a third guy. Alabama's receiving corps is becoming more potent with Jam Miller back. Like I say, the offense is looking a whole hell of a lot better is all I'm saying. So it'll be interesting to see where Alabama goes.
I think they, like you say, I think they were fine in the they lost the game.
Well, guess what? They got a great game this week. We'll get into that in a second.
I'm just saying, like for the season, I think it was just your boy just looked a little shaky in the first game and he didn't make plays, and it was just an avalanche type game. The Florida State game. But since then, Bama's been looking pretty good.
He can't catch the ball.
Ever since then, Bama, I could care less about that. Bama's looked pretty good since then. And, they're still in the race for the SEC. Their only loss is non-conference. So,
yeah, no, like I say, they got a banger this week. We'll talk about that in a second. Yeah, as far as the other
really
games.
Nothing else this week, to be honest with you, man, to talk about.
The past week. Yeah,
this past week.
Yeah, like I say, I agree. A&M, we'll talk about them because we're going to talk about them. But yeah, you said you wanted to see Georgia beat, Kentucky pretty easily.
Virginia beat Louisville. It was a tight game and they pulled it off.
Yeah. All right. Well, like I say, we kind of talked about it earlier. You basically say the Gators have no shot at Kyle Field. What do they need to do to win the game, in your opinion? Then what do they got to do?
Obviously, limit turnovers. Can't turn the ball over. Continue drives. I think this is going to be one of those matchups where you see DJ's going to see some looks he probably hasn't seen before because Mike Elko plays a unique style of defense. Can they run the football? Like you say, they're going to be coming in. I think they're going to blitz a little bit. The Texas A&M offense has been a little shaky this year. I will agree with you on that, but I think defensively they've played pretty good outside of the Notre Dame game. I think what Florida has to do is still run the ball, give the ball to Jackson, like you say, over 20 carries, and be efficient in the passing game. Can Dallas Wilson continue what he did this past week in VB3? Can those two guys get those two guys the ball? If those other guys don't want to catch the damn ball.
Yeah, what's crazy is what happened to Trey Wilson, man.
That's what I'm saying. If Mizell and Trey Wilson don't want to do anything, hey, just lean on your freshmen. Yeah, and just don't turn the ball. Defensively, can they slow down that A&M run game? Because A&M is going to load the box up and they're going to run the football.
No, that's going to be the challenge of, you know, them running the football. Like I said, they ran it really well. Like, again, the Mississippi State game, you know, everybody's been in love with Mississippi State. I think they finally just ran out of juice, man. They had so many emotional games, you know,
back to back. Yeah,
to start the season. I think it just kind of finally just ran out on them on the road. That was a tough environment. They hung tough early in the game. It was, you know, it was like
Florida create turnovers.
I think it was like 7-3 at halftime, you know.
If you guys could create 3 turnovers in this game and then convert off of those turnovers, that'll be your best way to win. If you guys can't create turnovers, it's just that environment. And like you say, Billy's not the greatest on the road. They're gonna have to create turnovers and not just create turnovers, you got to convert off of those turnovers.
Yeah, well, like I say, that you go back to the block punt, man. Great play. You get a special teams play. You know, you wish that one made it lay it up in the end zone. It was just such a it blocked it so damn hard it flew out back in the end zone. So, but more so, that was probably with about 3 and 4 minutes left in the half, and we literally ran it 3 straight times and had to punt it right back to him. Like, we didn't even do anything off of that block punt, and it was just like, you know, again, some of these coaches being old. I mean, again, this is where you're always damned if you do, damned if you don't with fans and whatever. Run the ball, don't run the ball, throw the ball, be aggressive, don't make it. You know, you never can win. If you don't convert, you're never going to win. You know, everybody's going to bitch about something. So it's one of those things of like, yeah, you basically you ran it, they stuffed it, you got conservative, and you ended up not converting. You had to punt, and you know, you get nothing of it. You know, where you're like, damn. You just scored. You get the block punt. Like, let's you almost like put that death blow in them. Like, let's really stretch this thing out. Instead, you know, you don't. But it was like, you know, it was 19-7. So you're like, at least you're up like 2 scores. You know, but it's I think more so too of, you know, going back to Mississippi or Texas A&M. You know, their offense is very capable. You know, I don't know what. Again, this is where going back to the Auburn game, you're like, okay. We know Auburn's played pretty good defensively all season long, so and we know they've had a little bit of challenges offensively. And that game was just kind of ugly, and it took a late big play run for Texas A&M to win that game. And so you're like, okay, if you compare Florida's defense to Auburn's defense, you know, how much are comparable are they? You know, to kind of keep you in the game. And if they're comparable, and you can kind of limit the run game, because let's see what Auburn do against their run game. A&M was still able to run for 200. Moss got off in that game. Reuben Owens got off in the game against Mississippi State.
Yeah.
So both of those guys are capable of running the ball. You know, both.
If you're the Texas A&M OC, you're looking at, dang, if Miami ran the ball on them, we should be able to run the ball because we feel like our run game is just as good and our backs are just as good. You know, it's going to come down at Marcel Reed. Can he, like you say, can he complete passes? If you guys could kind of stymie the run game enough to probably keep them to 100, 150 yards rushing, and
they're probably going to rush turnovers. They'll probably rush for 200 yards.
Well, that's why I said keep it down to 100, 150.
I guess what's wild too is it's kind of the mode of the game too, because if you go all the way back to the Notre Dame game, Notre Dame did a pretty good job of controlling the run game, but Marcel Reed went slap off throwing the football. You know, so,
exactly. Pick your poison.
Like I say that. So Marcel Reed's capable for throwing it for 360, or they can just say, you know what, we're going to run it for 300 and have our 2 backs, you know, towed it. Craver and Concepcion are definitely 2 dynamic receivers. Our secondary didn't play. I'd say Carmani didn't play very well at all against Texas. So you got to be thinking the rest of these teams would be like, hey, let's go. I mean, Kermani's able to make plays. He kind of takes a lot of chances. He gets beat on like where he gets beat is on double moves. He's a bad like if you double move him,
Jason.
He's a one-on-one guy, and he basically gets beat. So
it's kind of like a Trayvon Diggs type. He's going to take a chance.
He's going to take a chance. So he's going
and hope that he guesses right.
He's going to make a nasty interception where he undercuts Carson Beck.
Exactly.
Or he just gets completely cooked on a corner post, up the field, and Arch just misses him. So again, the Gators are going to have to play. They're going to take the formula of what they did to Texas. They're going to have to run the football. DJ's going to have to be highly efficient. Not turn the ball over, like you say. If they do those things, I think they can make it a ball game. If they don't do those things, they will not win. They're not going to win. It'll be just like LSU and just like Miami.
It feels it just is a big picture thing. It just feels like teams just don't have those killer instincts like teams of the past. I mean, I'm going from one all the way down, but I think part of that is there's so much turnover on these rosters that these guys don't know each other. They know each other, but they don't know each other. Like kind of like Ohio State was last year. Ohio State had that killer instinct because those guys have been together 4 or 5 years. Yeah. And so when you don't have that killer instinct, that gives teams like a Florida State to get back in it in the fourth quarter, to where if you're not putting your foot on the neck and being like, we're trying to drive them through the ground, if Texas A&M is up by like 14 or 15, Florida may have a chance to be like, you know what, if they could steal a possession on a special teams or get a short yard, flip the field, get the ball midfield and get, even if it's 3, to make it a 12-point game or a 10-point game, there's still plenty of opportunities. Because like I said, I just don't think teams have that killer instinct to where they just want to put 40, 50, 60 points up like the old Spurrier days. Right. Like if you give us an opportunity, we don't care if you're Kent or Florida State. If we could put 70 up, we're putting 70 up.
I'm putting a number on you for sure.
Heck yeah. That's the one thing I respected about Spurrier, where it was just like
I felt like Steve. Hey, I felt like Steve last night in our game, man. I was like, I'm scoring, man. Screw this.
Yeah, I know. That's all right. It's all good.
I knew you were going
to bring that up. Hey man,
I'm not even moving on.
When you get your third one in 8 chances,
it feels good. It feels good, baby. It feels good. It feels good when you're doing it.
Yeah,
put it this way. I picked on the sheet on my pick and Cruz's pick. I took Texas A&M to cover. So like it's not a big surprise. Like I'm not sold. I'm not bought. So
no.
I think Texas A&M is a really good football team. All I can tell you is if the Gators play to what we saw last weekend, and this is who they are, this is their new identity. If it can be that way, they can win this game too, But do I think they're going to do that? No, I don't. So that's the bottom line. I think they're going to.
No,
I think we're going to see exactly.
You're over here giving me crap like I'm the Gator hater, and
you're the Gator hater, baby. You're the Gator hater, man. You're the hater of the
Gators. I try to be straight down the middle and just give you my thoughts.
It's like this. I totally agree. I was trying to push you into, because that's why I asked you the other day. Can the Gators? You're like, Gators played good, and I said, can they win?
I gave him credit.
Said possibly.
I gave him credit.
I agree. Like I put it because I'm going to tell you exactly how it's going to play out. I was wrong about last week because what I had seen the first 4 weeks is what I thought we were going to continue.
That was the sample size we had.
And so
we didn't factor in how bad
what happened
offense was.
Well, that was a part of the whole thing of we're going to learn, and and that's kind of what we're going to learn this week too. But the Gators, put it this way. The Gators are going to hang in this game. They're going to play with them, just like they've done in all the first 4 games.
Their defense is good,
and I don't think it's a runaway like how A&M really jumped us last year. Like I don't think it's that way. And
there was that avalanche of 5 minutes before the half, that kind of with the personal fouls and the holding penalty and all of that. That what killed you guys last year.
Yeah, we were the Marcel Reed coming out party, and but like I say, when it's all said and done, I don't trust this team. I don't trust DJ. I don't trust Billy. I don't trust our defense, to come up with the big stop.
The injuries are piling up for you guys defensively.
I will say the guys who've been playing though have come in and played really well, because we were if there was one thing, Arch was running for his damn life. So I need more of that. Get after whoever you're playing at quarterback. Get after Marcel Reed's ass. Don't let him. Don't let him get out of the pocket. Don't let him run.
I just think it's going to be tough because I think Texas A&M has a top 5 offensive line in the country. But I could be wrong. But like I say, I really like what Mike Elko is doing out there at Texas A&M. And they're, like I say, they're going to line up and they're going to be physical on both sides of the ball. And if you're Florida, you take your opportunity. If you have the opportunity to hit a deep pass, like I say, to Dallas Wilson or VB3, you better hit it and get down the field.
Here's the one good stat about this too. Florida hasn't lost there since they've been playing in the SEC. So let's keep that up. They beat Money Manziel. And the last time we went out there was AR-15 had a freaking ball out game. So they beat us in Gainesville, but we've won at College Station twice in the last however many years. But I know that doesn't hold water. But hey, we ain't afraid of Kyle Field in the #1 stadium post in the country. We don't care about that shit. We don't care about it. We're gonna go knock off another top 10 team. Let's go.
So Florida State and Pitt this week. On to the next one. I think the Noles bounce back, but I'm curious to see how the new Pitt quarterback. He was slinging it last week, but it's still Pitt and it's still Florida State. Florida State, if they can limit the turnovers on offense, get the explosives, run the football, that defense is going to play. I just need Earl Little to pay attention on the back end. I'm glad he didn't pay attention last week, but this week, focus. I think Florida State at home, the Doak is going to be rocking, I think, again, because the fans are smart. They realize their team's not 100% out of it. What time is that game? It's a noon game. Yeah, I still got Florida. I got Florida State winning.
Yeah, I think the Noles win this game too, but this is not going to be an easy game. In my
opinion. No, especially the Narduzzi defense. No.
Yeah, Pitt, like I say, they've kind of been a little disappointing because we kind of like my boy Cade Bell's offense coordinator. Obviously, Eli Holstein really played well last year, but he's kind of not played good. And like I say, they made a change at quarterback,
which is surprising this early.
Yeah, I mean they lost a tight one against Louisville a couple weeks ago by a touchdown, and I guess that's when they made the change at quarterback. And we don't know how good Louisville is yet either because they haven't really. That was their best win probably. But yeah, Pitt was kind of one of those faux teams we thought coming in could be, like a Georgia Tech
team
type,
in the conference.
And so far they've kind of not lived up to that because obviously they lost their rival game against West Virginia. But at least I will say playing against West Virginia and Louisville, those are two pretty solid opponents. So like this is not like
playing cupcakes.
Yeah, so like Florida State this is going to be an interesting game for sure because I want to see where Florida State is mentally.
The bounce back, exactly.
Yeah, I mean you've lost 2 in a row now. You had all that hype going up after, like, dude, that Bama game was a month ago, like a long time ago.
Yeah,
and it doesn't feel like it was, but it was. And talk about 2 totally different teams right now.
And in the Virginia game, I think they were looking ahead. They weren't focused on.
I don't necessarily disagree with that either. Like they definitely might have had their eyes circled on. We got a big rivalry game. It's gonna be a top 10 game. All that, they let that slip. So, where does Florida State? Like I said, I think they're.
I like it. It's at home.
Yeah, if this game was at Pitt, this would be a tough situation possibly. But I think Florida State does win just because I think they are playing better. Their operation does look cleaner.
Yes.
Castellanos does make plays, but here's what I will say. If, like you said, if Castellanos throws 2 interceptions or they have a fumble here or there, Pitt's going to win this game. You can't turn the ball over.
No.
And if this new quarterback is doing what he did last week, Boston College is
terrible.
God. They're gods.
Yeah,
they're
terrible.
They're awful. Like what's going on? Like Bill O'Brien, like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
You suck, bro. But like, yeah, because the new quarterback for Pitt was 30 of 41 for 323 and 4 touchdowns against BC. And so, yeah,
he's playing against a totally different defense this week.
That's what I'm saying. So that I want to see what this kid looks like against Florida State and how good, Florida State does the bounce back. So like I say, I think Noles do win this game. 10.5 is a lot, in my opinion. Because I think it could be like a 1-score game. So I'll take the Noles to win, but I think it'll be a little bit tighter. I think they, win 31-24, something like that. 31-20.
I can see that. Yeah, so, I think they win though. I think, like I said, I think they bounce back. They just played one of the better defenses in the country. They're going to try to run the ball. Obviously, like you say, they lead the nation in rushing. They're going to try to run the football. They're going to get explosives. And as long as they don't turn the ball over, they're going to be fine. If I'm Florida State, I'm trying to roll the pocket a little bit more to get him better sight lines, and not in that pocket over those big offensive linemen. If they could do that to get, just to help him out, to make the passes easier. And hey, Deuce Robinson looked pretty good last week too. I'm not gonna lie.
He's been a problem since that Virginia game. He's a
good.
matchup nightmare for sure. And like I said, I think
now they need the other guys to step. That's the other thing. They need the other guy. They need to score Whites to step up. Pittman, Pittman is a beast. Pittman is a beast.
Nothing, man.
No, Pittman at tight end has been doing pretty good.
I like Pittman for sure.
Like so they have the guys.
No, they do. I think, like I say, Castellanos has been good. Offensively, they're one of the top offenses in the country. Like you got to limit the turnovers. Like I say, 5 interceptions to start the year is not good.
Yeah, their left tackle got hurt in the game. So
Danzy's their second leading receiver, man. And it's like 23 catches from Deuce to 9 catches. You know what I'm saying?
And those are all shot plays for the most part. For Danzy.
Actually, Pittman has 11 catches, but he's only got 73 yards. Yeah, Danzy has the big plays on the long passes or his
reverses and stuff like that.
Yeah, like I said, I like, put it this way: Florida State, you got to carry over that fourth quarter, get over yourself, get over your losses. Take that moral motivation, whatever you got, that you say, hey, we played good in the fourth quarter. We didn't play well enough to win the game against Miami. We let the Virginia game slip away. Go out and make a statement and go win this game. Like I say, we'll see if that's where they are. I don't know, but I think they get out with the dub. The biggest game of the weekend is the top 10 matchup with the Fighting Ducks hosting those Hoosiers from Indiana. I don't know. This game's interesting, man, because Indiana's getting a lot more pub and praise. How
do they handle the travel?
Yeah, that's going to be the biggest thing. Obviously, it's a night game, so it's not like one of those 12 o'clock where you're playing at 9 a.m. type deals,
right?
Being on the road is definitely going to be a tough environment, whether it's at 7:30 or 12:30 or whatever.
Outside of the Illinois game, which was a blowout, we don't know anything really about Indiana. We know Mendoza's balling and putting up numbers, but we really don't know much. We've seen Oregon against Penn State, like you said earlier. Is Penn State a fraud? I still think Penn State's a good. I think they just got shell shocked at home against Oregon. They had a hangover. They went out to LA and they lost. I think as long as Oregon can run the football and play that good defense they've been playing most of the year. And Dante Moore, man, he's looked good so far. And then the true freshman at wide receiver, Moore. So can Indiana slow down that Oregon offense?
Actually, it's a 3:30 kick. It's a 3:30 kick.
Is it? Okay.
It was a night game. Just 3:30.
So noon. So 12:30 out there. So I think the Oregon defense could slow down the Indiana offense a little bit, but can Indiana make enough plays to win the football game? Right. I got Oregon winning at home.
Yeah, I think Oregon wins too, but I don't know. I just feel there's a sneaky something about this game to where Indiana, they're capable. Like I say, they obviously played pretty good D. That Iowa game was such a weird game, just like because it was on the road. You're playing Iowa. Iowa's always been scrappy defensively. Yep. They probably could have done physical.
Can Oregon be physical? If they could be physically imposing to Indiana, I think that's the difference in the game.
Yeah, because you can't take anything. You can't take anything from that Kennesaw State, Indiana State games for.
That's what
Indiana.
I'm saying. Yeah. But can Oregon be physical? We know Dan Lanning wants to be physical. Yeah. If they're physical with them, I think they win, kind of like that Ohio State game last year. But because we know Indiana's not really fit, they're not built to be physical. So, but if they could get up and down and running up the field, it could be a long day for Oregon. But I think Oregon wins because they're more physical. The defense is going to be sound and play good. And then offensively, I think they score enough points.
Yeah, like I said, I picked Oregon. But I don't know. I want to see an upset. Let's go with. I want to go with the Signitties, the Fighting Sigs. It's because, again, Indiana's, put it this way, it's great that they're even being talked about in this light, compared to where their program was just 2-3 years ago. It's the fact that they're in these games to where they're considered one of the top teams in the country. This is one of those statement games of like, all right, yeah, we didn't have this marquee game last year. When they
Yeah.
did, they lost. You know, so
because it sets up perfect. If they win this weekend, the rest of their schedule is relatively easy.
yeah, no, it is. It totally is. They beat their number 9 ranked Illinois when they were ranked.
Yeah.
This will be a top 10 win. And then, yeah, that it was going to be at Penn State, which will be a tough game, you know, in November. But yeah, like, you know, Wisconsin, Purdue, Michigan State, UCLA. Well, I don't know, UCLA. All of a sudden, new coordinator. Who knows? UCLA might be coming up. So yeah, worry about this one. Like I say, go win a big road game. You know, and then I think it'll definitely
and then people
change the
respect
landscape
you.
a little bit. It totally. So like, I'm interested in seeing, you know, what Indiana can do at Oregon, and then is Oregon really in that upper cut, like we just said a minute ago? Are they one of the top 3 teams in the country? Like I say, the other big time matchup is Bama going on the road to Missouri.
I know nothing about Missouri. I know zero about Missouri. I know Missouri hasn't played anyone.
Yeah.
This is their game, and then they don't play anyone else the rest of the year. I still
Yeah,
like Alabama to go with.
They got a couple of tough games. They got a tough couple. Their back half of their schedule is much more difficult than the first half for Missouri.
I think Bama is playing. I think Bama right now is playing as one of the better teams in top 5 teams in the country. Like we said, we isolated the 3. There, I think Bama's in that second tier, on the fringe of that first tier of teams. If they could go in and run the football, play defense, and get Ryan Williams the football.
You got to get them the ball.
Ryan, you got to get the receivers the football and let them make plays. I think Bama wins.
Yeah, I think Bama wins too. But what scares me about this game is you kind of had back-to-back big games. This is 2 games removed. You're going on the road. It's a noon kick. Missouri is one of those games. Like it's one of those. I don't know. It's a weird place to play sometimes.
Really, it's 11 a.m.
Yeah, so it's just a weird. I don't know. Teams like when Georgia plays at Missouri at noon, or Florida, like they just don't play well. And then on top of that, again, you've had 2 kind of emotional wins. You know, you beat Georgia again. Then you have to turn around and beat this team that beat you last year that kind of shocked the hell out of you in Vandy.
Yeah, this could be the letdown game.
You know, so you're like, it spells for like, this could be, you better come in here and play.
Yeah, that's why I say you lean on the running game and you play defense.
You let Ryan Williams take over the game. You know, you just throw it to him.
Just throw it to 15 times.
But no, like I say, I do agree Bama's playing really good ball. And again, the biggest thing is we don't know nothing about Missouri. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
They're the litmus test of, I can't, like, your biggest win is you beat South Carolina 29-20, but the rest of your 4 wins are trash. Now, like I say, that their schedule does pick up there at Auburn, at Vandy, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, and Oklahoma to close out. So Missouri,
that picks up. Yeah.
Missouri's got a little something.
Stretch run.
So if Missouri wants to make a run in this thing, they need this type of win. They need this big upset win. You know, they're ranked 14th in the country. Like, we'll find out. Like I say, we're going to find out about some of these teams who haven't played the schedule, whether you're fraud, whether you're legitimate.
Yeah, if you've been hiding behind those terrible wins.
All right, the other one is the number 1 team in the country. They're going on the road to Champagnat, Illinois, and the Fighting Illini, the Fighting Joe Thorntons.
Yeah, he likes to upset.
They blew out Minnesota last week, man. And like I say, I thought Minnesota might be a little bit of a challenge, but they beat the hell out of them.
Them boys is out there thumping. Ohio State was out there banging.
Yeah.
I think, it all hinges on saying, right? You hate to say,
he played tremendous last weekend.
That's what I'm saying. He's been super efficient, but it's easy when you're throwing the ball to 1, 4, and 17.
Yeah, totally.
And then you get CJ Donaldson running, get the running game going. I think that's what they need to do. I think Ohio State needs to try to get their running game going, get the tight ends involved, because we know what those 3 guys are going to be able to do. Can he be efficient and move the ball? And then on the flip side, can Illinois create enough havoc and just rattle him in the backfield to where he makes bad throws and bad plays? I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it.
But if you're Illinois, you want to keep this score as low as possible and make it just muck up the game and make it ugly and just say, you know what? You guys are going to have to prove to us that you can run the football, because we're going to stop these great talent of guys you guys have on the outside. Like I say, I think Ohio State wins. I think it's going to probably be I can see them winning 28-10, 28-14. They're not like last year's team where they're going to put a number up. This year, they're just getting a W and getting out of there.
Yeah, well, like I say, you go back and look at it. Obviously, the first game, Texas, that was week one.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to fill everything out. They're two big games after that. One on the road, one at home. The Washington game on the road, like I say, it's kind of that sleepy 24-6. We blew you out in a sense, but it wasn't a blowout.
Yeah.
And then at home, they really beat the hell out of Minnesota last week, which again, I thought Minnesota was a lot better, but they just did whatever they wanted in that game. And so you look at Illinois, the game's at home, so they're going to play well at home. Probably, like I say, it's big noon, but it's not like that big atmosphere. Part of me is like this Ohio State team is more so, yeah, they want to run the ball, but they really just say, hey, you know what? We don't have to run the ball. We got this dynamic.
Take whatever you give us.
And like I said, really, C.J. Donaldson's not even the guy anymore. It's Bo Jackson, baby. Bo Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, they have them on the field. They have both on the field. They kind of do like a two-back set where they have Donaldson at fullback at times. But yeah, Bo looks like he is taking the lead. But down in the red zone and short yardage situation, Donaldson is the guy.
So what's funny too is people I've seen where people are saying that they're like trying to hide Julian Sayin, and it's like, I don't know, man. He's completing 80% of his passes too, like we've talked about with
how do you
Ty
hide a quarterback that was like 22 of 28 out in Washington?
That's what I'm saying. And then he was 23 of 27 at Minnesota or against Minnesota.
How are you?
But I've heard
because running. They're not really running the football.
No, they're not. They're not running.
That's what I'm saying. So how are you hiding him?
That's what I'm saying. He's been, in my opinion, ultra effective. Yeah. So
it's on the defense to blitz and to get to him and rattle him and make it and put him in bad situations. If teams aren't doing that, it's not their fault.
Yeah, and like I say, I think, like I say, the line on this one's 14.5.
It's a big line.
I'd probably take them to cover. I just think they are better. I think they are the number one team in the country. So we're going to find out. This is a ranked team on the road. Go flex your muscle. Let's see what you got. Because then, like I say, after that, they got Whiskey, Penn State, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers before they play the big one against Michigan. So this is kind of like the last hurrah. I mean, yeah, there'll be some hype for that Penn State game, but man, I just don't know. We'll see what Penn State looks like in the next couple of weeks and see if they can right the ship and feel better about themselves offensively. What other games promote your fancy besides Red River?
I was about to say,
we got to talk Red River.
You can't forget that one.
I guess.
Rumor has it that Mateer wants to play and he's going to try to play.
He's not going to play.
I don't think he is.
That's gamesmanship. He ain't playing.
Yeah, this is the one where you take the under. I think the OU defense is pretty good. It's going to be which quarterback could make enough plays between Hawkins and Manning to score enough points. I don't expect it to be a high scoring game.
Who you got, dog? Who you got?
I just don't like. I don't think Hawkins is that good. I don't. And it's hard for me to take Texas. This is a tough one, man. I'm gonna lean OU because I think their defense is dynamic enough to make a play to where they could get down the field and score. And I think offensively, even though I don't like Hawkins, I think their skill guys and their run game is better than Texas. So I'll go OU. I could see it being like a 17-14 game.
Yeah, the line's one and a hook.
Yeah, I know. So I'm gonna go OU. I can see like 17-14 on the field goal at the end.
Yeah, for some reason I feel like Texas wins this game. I don't know. Like a lot of it has to do with if Mateer was playing, I would probably feel differently.
Oh, I'm going. Yeah, I'm going. It's 100% OU for me. If Mateer, if he's healthy and playing.
Yeah, because I think this is a game I want to see where Texas is at mentally too. Like this is your 2 losses. You can't afford 3 if you want to try to even get in any kind of conversations about anything. And I just, definitely it's a rivalry game, all that. But I'm one like there was parts of me where I'm like, okay, I can see where Texas, like we said, is pretty good. But the problem is they're having a hard time. Put it this way. If you couldn't protect last week against Florida, like the OU defensive line, I love that. It might be outside of Bain and Mesidor. I think OU's defensive line is probably the best in the country. And they go back to that Auburn game, man. They were just playing out of their freaking minds.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. Their defense.
Their defense played great. And
Can
but
they score
again,
points?
yeah, and that's where it's going to come down to. And here's the thing: I actually think Hawkins is a good player, but he's not as good as John Mateer. So
Heck no.
part of that problem is,
There might be a lot of QB run game this week, a lot of read option, a lot of option, a
yeah.
lot of draws and stuff like that.
Yeah, like I say, Hawkins is capable of moving the offense, but what I want to see is, okay, that Texas defense, you got to bounce back and get after his ass, and
Mhm.
basically, like you say, keep the score low.
I was
Keep it
really
up.
surprised how bad they played this past week. I was
Yeah,
not expecting
yeah, that
that.
was the number one defense in the country, and the Gators lit you up. Basically, did whatever
Yeah,
they want, ran the
yeah.
ball. DJ was highly efficient, threw it for
Mhm.
300 yards. Like, you didn't really get many turnovers.
The one
So
turnover you had was just a bad pat. DJ kind of put it up there.
yeah,
The kid just made a hell of the safety came over and
right,
made a hell of a play.
yeah, and like I say, that
Yeah.
like I said, for some reason, I'm just feeling Texas. I feel like Texas bounces back. I feel like Arch, like for as bad as he looked, I think he's right there to where I
Yeah.
think
I
he can
like you
maybe take that
say,
next step. But
he
again, we could put it this way: he's gonna have to play really well against this defense. So
exactly. I think he just
let's
has to
see, what he does.
I think at this point in his development, just don't worry about the draft. Don't worry about the end of the
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
Just take it week by
Play,
week.
just play
Forget
ball,
that you're
man.
Arch Manning. Just go out there and play football. Let it rip. If it's good, great. If it's bad, you learn from it. And then next year is going to be that step for Texas because you're going to have a Wingo and a French and I forgot the other receiver where your receivers have
DeAndre
one more
Moore,
year of experience and your offense is going to be better.
Emmett's back. Like I say, they got their receivers are going to be good. Like
That's what I'm saying. That I said that
Mosley,
from the whole year. I think next year is the year for Texas. It's
yeah,
not this year.
yeah. All right,
I
we
got
got a trio. We got about 3 or 4 games. I know
yeah,
these are the ones you're
same,
going to hit on: Georgia,
same.
Auburn, Michigan,
Yep.
USC, and probably Arizona State, Utah. Those
Actually,
are
that wasn't the last one I had, but sure. Uh,
yeah.
Georgia going to the Plains. It just goes back to we need to see more from the passing game. Can we see more from the Georgia passing game? I think Auburn is terrible. I think their defense is pretty good, but overall as a team, they're pretty bad under Hugh Freeze. Georgia should be able to go in there and win. I know it's a night game between and the Plains and all of that.
That line's sneaky, man. I don't
It
understand.
is. It
Like
is.
Georgia, like I feel the same way. Like I feel like Georgia's going to have no problem in this game, and they're only a 3.5
Yeah.
point favorite
Like I
on the
said,
road.
I just don't believe in the Auburn offense.
I
Like
agree. I totally am with you
it's
on that.
the 3.5. I just don't think they probably think it's not going to be a high scoring game, and Georgia's going to sputter on offense. They think I'm sure they're thinking Georgia's going to win, but just not by much.
Yeah, there is some good, like, there's some other good games too. Like there's some pretty good damn games this weekend.
Well, the one you
Like
didn't.
Kansas,
That's the
Texas Tech.
one.
Like Kansas,
That's the
like
one I had on my list.
How good is Texas Tech? They've been playing really, really good ball. I said last week I thought Houston could be sneaky. No, not at all. They
Yeah.
pounced them. Kansas started the season really well. They've lost 2 games. They really haven't beat anybody good, but I think they're
No.
a capable team.
Yeah.
But let me does Kansas State go or does Texas Tech go and do what they've been doing and win by 21? That will be more impressive for me if Texas Tech keeps up
And
that, like,
then
just blowing people
Texas.
out.
The one game I watched, the Utah game, they were very physical. They were running the ball, even though we know they want to throw the football, and they're putting. I don't know the QB situation since that game, but I think Texas Tech wins. I can see Kansas covering the spread, but then again, I can, like you said,
I pick.
Texas Tech's
They've
been
been beaten by
they've
24.
been on one.
They've been winning 24 points a game.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so I would just say I pick Texas Tech to win.
Yeah, even like South Carolina going to LSU. Does South Carolina knock off LSU
Sneaky
this
good.
year?
Yeah, yeah. Michigan,
know,
USC.
yeah, I got who you like.
I
Well,
want to see
I guess
more.
who you like in those games. I guess we don't got to break them down. Who you like? Michigan, USC
I like USC because it's at
at home.
home. I want to see more from Bryce Underwood. I think that's last week's game. I forgot who were they played. I forgot who they played. I was watching either last week or the week before.
They beat Wisconsin by 2 touchdowns. It was kind of an ugly game.
It should have been bigger, but you saw the flaws in Bryce Underwood just being a young quarterback, not being negative, but you could just see where he was missing some easy dump offs, overthrowing it. You see him being a freshman, but he's developing. That's why I'm curious about this game. I like USC.
Yeah. I want to see more from Bryce too. That's gonna be a fun game to see too. I'll go Bryce Underwood in the upset. It's only 2.5-point spread. Like I say, I will like USC. This is a big game for Lincoln though. He needs to kind of like they kind of were on the cusp, of being talked about, and then they blow that game against Illinois.
Hey man,
what 2 weeks ago?
It's about to be flip season. These teams better start winning, or these recruits.
Because they got next weekend. They go to South Bend. They go to South Bend. So you're talking about a potential. You could lose 3 games in a row right here. You lost to Illinois, you lose to Michigan, and then you lose Notre Dame. That's a no bueno for you, Lincoln.
Yeah. It's a weird game. I'm looking at 2 games. More for Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech playing Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's bad. They fired their coach.
They're so bad.
I'm just curious to see Georgia Tech week in and week out. Can they finish the job and get to the ACC championship game because they have the easier route in the
game was in Blacksburg. If the game was in Blacksburg, I might, but it's at home. I don't.
Yeah, I think in Arkansas,
Georgia Tech is your game to watch every week. You want to see what Georgia Tech can do.
Yeah, exactly. And then the new head football coach at Arkansas, the new old. This is what his third. Yeah, his third trip there, second trip, something like that. Yeah, Bobby Petrino going up to Knoxville. I like Tennessee. I want to see more of that Tennessee offense. I like watching Tennessee on offense.
Yeah, really and truly is one of the sneakiest games too that won't get any kind of love or any kind of pub. Is the Friday night game, South Florida at North Texas.
This is I mean, for South Florida, it's North Texas has been decent, been pretty good.
They're 5-0
for South Florida.
They're a 1.5-point favorite.
Hey man,
this is it.
They're
leaders. South Florida, if you want to be the G, they're actually not the leader anymore. Memphis, everybody's picking Memphis to be the G5 team now.
Who is Memphis beat?
I don't know, but they're 6-0. They'll be the team in that American.
I would take South Florida over Memphis just because South Florida's schedule.
They beat your Sam Pittman team. They beat Arkansas.
Yeah, they beat South Florida. Beat Florida as well.
Gators suck, man. Arkansas would beat the Gators right now.
Arkansas sucks.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, like I say, Memphis. I think because Memphis and South Florida play in a couple of weeks, so that'll be the true litmus test. Because
for that conference, yeah.
To me, the race is Memphis, South Florida, Tulane.
Yeah.
But again, everybody's sleeping over North Texas. What if North Texas knocks? Like I say, they're playing at home. Like I don't know nothing about North Texas. I just know that they've been playing good ball the last couple of years. Joe likes to bet them, and they're a 1.5-point favorite. So who you like?
You know what sucks? You know the part that sucks? Those 4 teams are all in the same conference.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's going to be fun to watch, but if it sucks for the conference when you're
we're even discrediting the Navy midshipmen who are 5-0, 3-0 in the conference too.
So 5 teams in the conference. If you're Conference America, or the American Conference, you love it, but at the same time, you're like, man, all our teams could beat each other up to where another team could see.
Yeah, Navy, Memphis, and North Texas are all undefeated overall, like not even just in conference play. They're 6-0, 5-0, and 5-0. So
I don't know anything about North Texas, but I like how South Florida plays. I'm gonna go with South Florida.
Yeah, see, I'm gonna go North Texas.
Charlotte team last week.
I'm gonna go North Texas at home.
Yeah,
taking the 1.5 to cover, baby. But I don't know nothing about North Texas, so we'll see.
But yeah, exactly.
All right, dog. Like I say, that about wraps it up. There's a couple other games. Like I say, that Utah, Arizona State, but we don't got to get into that one. That's a late night Pac-12, old school Pac-12 game.
If you can't go to sleep, watch that.
I guess Utah at home. I don't know. Utah has a good environment. Like I say, this is another big game for Dillingham if he wants to try to keep Arizona State on the map of that Big 12. They need to win this game.
This is a sneaky good week of college football.
No, like I say. There doesn't have to be we do have marquee matchups. We got top 10 games of Indiana and Oregon and Bama, Missouri. Those are top 15 games. You got Red River, which is always a big one. And then, like I say, you sneak in some of these other games where you're like Florida, Texas A&M. Auburn, Georgia, Michigan, USC, South Carolina, LSU, Arizona State, Utah. Like I say, there's some good. That Friday night game. Like I say, I'll be interested to see what South Florida.
By the way,
does.
Did you know we have 29 straight days of football?
Yeah, because we're about to start getting Tuesday games, baby.
Yeah. It starts.
Some action.
It starts this week. We're about to have 29 straight days of football, which is crazy.
Yeah.
It's good for the bettors, the people that like to gamble.
Okay, so you guys are the Friday night game next week.
Yeah, against Louisville. Yeah,
I didn't know it was a Friday night game.
Yeah, it's Friday night.
Friday night. Yeah. All right, we'll talk about Louisville.
Thank God it's at home and not on the road.
I was about to say Friday night game at Papa John's Stadium. That would be like, yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
But being at home, I like it. All right, well, it's Go Canes. You beat the Noles. Hell yes. Go
Enjoy
Gators.
The bye week.
Go Gators and beat Texas. Let's go Gators and beat Texas A&M. And enjoy your week off of college football, and you can just enjoy all the games. And we'll see who's contenders and who's pretenders, man. This is, like I say, this will be a good week to, like I say, where we're going to be like, yep, we thought this team was this team.
We're going to have to start doing our top 12.
Yeah, we'll start. We can start doing that next week. We'll start that next week. We'll make our 12 and prediction wise, because we'll see. A lot is going to tell me who this G5 team is going to be. So
yeah.
All right, my people. Enjoy the college football and the NFL football, a little Major League Baseball playoffs. How about them Yankees last night? And
how about them Jags Monday night, buddy?
Yeah, Jags Monday night, buddy. Yeah.
Baby deer.
Fresh baby deer legs from Trevor Lawrence for sure. Like I say, the Jags are playing good ball. They got a big game, Seattle. So yeah,
hey,
we got football everywhere, baby.
Devin Lloyd right now is the defensive player of the year.
Yeah, man, dude is making.
I'm putting it out there before other people put it out there.
Yeah, one of my buddies from work. One of my buddies at work, he texted me. He's like, defensive player of the year. I'm like, I was like, yeah, definitely he's in the mix. It's a long way to go, but yeah, he's definitely defensive player of the month for sure. He's going to win that award. But yeah,
he already won it.
Yeah, I was about to say that was a lock. But yeah, we'll see. NFL's shaping up to be pretty good. There's a lot of interesting things going on in the NFL. I'll say,
Baltimore
teams.
sucking.
I was about to say, teams that we thought were good aren't, and even Buffalo. I don't know what Buffalo's situation is right now.
Yeah, Buffalo can't get the ball to two of the best receivers in the country.
Yeah, like I say, I think too.
We're in the league.
In the country, baby. Yeah, I think
Mike McDaniels is about to be fired.
Does Kansas City get off the mat and beat Detroit this week?
That's a tough. Kansas City and Baltimore, their first 5 games have both been tough.
I know. I'm not.
Yeah.
What I think too gets lost in that game when you look at it too. Like Kansas City really did whatever they wanted on offense, man. They had 476 yards. It just didn't put up the output in the scoreboard column.
Yeah. Your Lions.
All right. Yeah. Detroit's balling, baby. Detroit's balling.
Bear down, baby.
Let's go. Bear down. Chicago Bears, baby.
Yes, sir.
All right, dog. We'll holler at y'all. Everybody enjoy your college football.
Like, subscribe, share.
Like, subscribe, and share. Hit that bell.
Interact.
Holler at your boys.
Tell me I'm a Gator hater.
Hour and a hook. Gator hater Faro will be back next week to talk about us and our loss to Texas A&M. Until then,
see ya.
We'll holler at you
later.